My name is Amanda Strickler-Holman, and this is my AEP 858 case study, Every Day Counts. Taking a look at what is happening within the case, at Oak Grove High School, in years previous, they had been on the end of the spectrum of the highest attending schools in the district, having the best attendance. But now that has shifted to being having the worst or declining attendance rates in the district for that area. Teachers are not accurately documenting absences and attendances, as well as teachers are making their own personal discretions about excused absences without proper approval. So they're just taking, their homeroom teachers are deciding for themselves whether to excuse the student or not. The counselor has been a little negligible in addressing declining grades for those students, especially. And then Mr. Rhodes is the new principal at this school, and Dr. Newman, the superintendent, has expressed that he would like for these attendance issues to be addressed and for them to improve. So Mr. Rhodes, Dr. Newman, and teachers are concerned about the continual downward decline in attendance rates. And the case really revolves around 5 students that are all very different in terms of their situations, ranging from Karen, who is a 11th grade student that just got married before school started. She was previously an honor roll student, but since the marriage, her grades have declined. To Tyrone, a 10th grader, whose parents, he's been on conferences with his parents for 2 weeks, and they were the parents say they were educationally based or did some educational things while they were on those conferences. Christine is a 9th grader who has missed several days due to church meetings. She does have season D's, so she's not feeling. Carl, a 10th grader. Basically, parents they're unsupportive in a sense of they don't value education. They didn't graduate from high school themselves and think that their way of life, they're doing just fine. So they have unsupportive parents in Carl's case. However, he does go to vocational or the trades industry in the afternoon, so maybe that is something that he would enjoy and that we could help promote with him. And then we have John, who is a junior, who is an athlete who has been injured and has physical therapy twice a week from noon to 2:30. But however, the athletic director has been letting him miss all Friday afternoons to rest for football games, and teachers have not been counting him absent. So some legal and ethical concerns with the case at hand. In terms of ethical, teachers, it's part of our responsibility to accurately record attendance, so teachers are not reporting student absences. The athletic director should not be giving special privileges to a star quarterback. The chain of authority has been broken in terms of teachers taking it into their own hands whether to excuse absences, as well as the counselor really should be paying attention to declining student achievement and talking to those students. And some parents have requested for a conference, but those have not been fulfilled. In terms of legal concerns, again, in terms of if the court has to get involved, teachers need to accurately record attendance for court proceedings and just in general, so we know where students are at all times when they are supposed to be under our direction. The Kansas compulsory law in terms of requiring student attendance to go to school, even if the parents don't think it's important. That's the law in terms of Kansas, that students need to be in school. Truancy laws, can't miss unexcused, so have so many unexcused absences, need to be at school or report being court ordered. And then I have another legal concern on who's responsible for attendance in terms of parents. In most of these cases, I do feel like it would be parents. However, in Karen's case, she is now married, and so she would not be under her legal guardianship of her parents. So just knowing that. So what is happening? Mr. Newman is looking to re-amplify school policies and supporters to help eliminate students' attendance issues and place importance on attendance and education while focusing on school improvement and student development. It all revolves around, we have a shift of culture within the Oak Grove High School district, and getting back on track of placing a value on attendance and getting those students in school. So the facts, Mr. Rhodes or myself is the principal. Dr. Newman is the superintendent of this case. We have Karen, which I kind of introduced Karen a little before in terms of she is a junior that just got married this past August that is struggling some with attendance now. Tyrone is a sophomore who has been on several trips with his parents. Christina is the freshman who has missed over 10 days for church conferences. Carl's a sophomore whose parents are a little bit unsupportive of or do not place a value in being in school. And then John, who's a junior, is a star quarterback that is getting a little special treatment for missing school as well as having required physical therapy appointments. And then we have the athletic director and the counselor, as well as the parents of all these students who make up the people of the facts of this case. The place, Golden Oak High School, it's mostly a middle-class resident. It's growing in diverse population. It has very good teacher retention, meaning they don't have a lot of turnover. And it's in a suburban area that is very close to a big city. Parents can commute up to 2 hours of work, and then if they are traveling, but there's also a lot of parents that own local industries or businesses within that suburban area. The program, it is a high school serving grades 9 through 12. They offer a variety of extracurricular activities, up to 31 different clubs to be involved, 11 different sports, and then currently have 965 students enrolled, grades 9 through 12. So a little bit of information. Could the situation be damaging to stakeholders or the community? Yes. Chronic absenteeism could put a bad mark on the school as well as a reflection of the community. Our job is to prepare students for the outside world and to have a good future. And if we can't show up to school, business and industries, they don't like that, because if you can't show up to school, how can they count on you to show up to work? And that is a very big thing right now, is getting people to go to work and then be responsible citizens. Stakeholders need to be involved in deciding this. As a new principal, use that low teacher turnover. So you have some stakeholders within the community inside the school, as well as other supporters. Bounce ideas off them, see what they think. And then talk with the teachers, athletic director, and counselors. Let them know what is acceptable, let them know what is not, and review the school attendance policy with them. The athletic director should not be allowed to give John the special treatment of having Fridays off before the big game. And the counselor really needs to be more involved and aware of declining student achievements and return those parents' calls and set up conferences if they ask. So for my options, option 1 would be do nothing. Hope that after break everything goes back to normal. After all, it's a new year. Option 2, address the adult issue first. Call a staff meeting to discuss school attendance policy and how important it is to document accurately. Remind staff that excused absences must be approved through me, and then provide examples for them of what I excused and not excused. Option 3, address it with the teachers, the same thing as option 2, however, go a step further with addressing it with those 5 students as well. Email families, offer to offer to meet with them and their child to discuss attendance. And option 4, continuing the same along as 2 and 3 during the staff meeting, provide and remind teachers on the district attendance policy, as well as provide data for them to review themselves. Remind them that all excused absences will run through me. If there's a discrepancy, I would be happy to talk about it. And then call the parents of the 5 students of concern to discuss attendance policy and legal issues with attendance. If I chose option 1, the pro would be avoiding conflict and remaining hopeful and optimistic. Cons would be it doesn't fix the attendance rates or teachers not complying. It does not do what's best for the students or the school. Option 2, pro, more accurate attendance records, school policy refreshed, examples provided. The con only focuses on one part of the problem, and we haven't increased student attendance. The pro for option 3 is a more accurate attendance, communication with both teachers and students. And then con, teachers could not comply, parents could become angry and or defensive. And option 4, it puts all the staff on the same page, lets me be the fallout or the bad guy for excused or unexcused absences, and opens the door for communication with parents and staff. Cons, toes could be felt like they're stepped on as staff, and parents could not be receptive to the communication. However, I feel like my best option is number 4, as it allows for data to be analyzed and supported. Communication with all parties is had. School and community benefits with increased attendance, and we could even incorporate attendance incentives could be implemented within the school. Implementing my decision, first I would have a staff meeting to go over the policy as well as review data on attendance records. Secondly, I would pull attendance records monthly, and I would have a building leadership team go over it to review and brainstorm activities and incentives. Third, check with teachers who have not been recording attendance and just kind of let them know that I'm watching. Fourth, post on our webpage and other social media platforms about school attendance policy and state laws regarding this to help spread the word. Fifth, pull the absence list, report myself monthly and review absences, start making phone calls to parents at that time. Sixth, if attendance doesn't improve, make a visit to the home and try to reach the parent, explain the state as well as school attendance laws. And seventh, last option or last resource, if students or parents aren't willing to comply to the attendance policies and rules, I would have to call the student and truant and then maintain those positive relationships with the court. So overall, that is my case study of Everyday Counts in AEP 858.